Adjust the frequency and volume a bit.
Startups, originators, musika, kultura, the arts, politika, sports, news, technology, crime, tragedy, comedy, lahat ng makabuluhan.
We are your independent podcast content creator, straight from the Philippine Islands. Mabuhay.
You're listening to Podcast.ph.
Welcome to the 9th episode of Martin's Mancave. My name is Martin Andanar. You can listen to us in a couple of ways. First is to go to our official URL, which is www.podcast.ph, or by typing Podcast.ph on SoundCloud.com. Follow and like us on Facebook, Twitter, and Google+. Just key in Podcast.ph. Our guest today is one of the most fearless journalists in the land. He is the pioneer of the no-holds-barred firebrand style of radio and print journalism in the country. One of his obvious legacies is that brand that he extended to his brothers, nephew, and other broadcasters that have emulated his style. Ramon was born on November 22, 1946 in Davao City. His parents are Ramon D. Tulfo and Caridad Tulfo, or Ramon D. Tulfo Sr. and Caridad Tulfo. He is the eldest of 10 children, namely Felix, Tucci, Wanda, Ben, Bong, Joseph, Rafi, Erwin, and Idel. Mon has a few kids.
Yeah. If we exclude the others, they might get mad at me. So let me see. I have a couple.
A couple. All right, a couple. Ramon, or Mon as he is widely known, finished elementary school at the Colegio de San Juan de Letran, high school in Divine World University in Tacloban City, and took up college at the Xavier University in Cagayan de Oro City. I didn't know you studied in Xavier. I finished my elementary and high school in Xavier University in CDO.
You did?
I did, yeah.
I was there in grade 4.
Mm-hmm.
In grade 4 and in college. I was there first year.
Wow.
Second year.
Oh. So, kamo di ka magbisaya, sir?
Kibalo.
Kibalo di ka magbisaya.
Cebuano ko. I come from Mindanao, which is Cebuano speaking. It's Cebuano.
Yeah.
Majority of people in Mindanao are Cebuano speaking.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ramon Teshiba Tulfo. Thank you, sir, for accepting our invitation to document your life on rich audio format.
My pleasure and my honor.
Let's talk about your parents. Your middle name is Teshiba, Japanese surname, and tell us about your mother.
My mother, she's still alive. My mother is half Japanese. Mm-hmm. My grandfather, her father, was Japanese. He was an engineer who came to the Philippines in the early part of the 20th century, and he died in 1944. 2 years to the day before I was born. So November 22, 1944, he died. He died of malaria. He was not a soldier. He was a businessman. And, he probably contracted malaria in Bukidnon, where he was a prisoner of war, because when the war broke out, all Japanese nationals were herded up and imprisoned. Mm-hmm. And he was one of the Japanese who was incarcerated in Bukidnon, and that's where he contracted malaria. When he got released, he continued to have the malaria, and he died of malaria in 1944.
Mm-hmm. And your grandfather left your grandmother along with your mother?
My mother and my uncle and three sisters.
That must have been very difficult for your mother and for her siblings and her mother during that time, being Japanese and in the middle of the war.
Yeah. In fact, after the war, the difficulty, that was only the beginning. The difficulty also spilled over after the war when she was interned along with hundreds of thousands of other Japanese in Davao as a prisoner of war.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's my mom and dad met in a concentration camp in Davao.
Wow.
My dad was sent to Davao to investigate war crimes, and he saw my mom.
Wow. And that's
He saw my mom there and offered her to work for him as an interpreter.
and that's how
And that's how love blossomed between them.
the love story
Yeah.
began during that time, and then Ramon Tulfo Jr. comes out. Of course,
Yeah, it was difficult at that time for a person born of Japanese ancestry. My mother was half Japanese, and as a kid, there was. I grew up in an atmosphere when there was too much hatred for the Japanese. This was after the war. And in the 1950s and 60s, I could feel hatred towards the Japanese by the Filipinos.
What were the values that your father left you? What were the lessons that you still, up to today, live up to?
I get principle to stand up for principle and courage, courage to push through despite the hardship.
And your father, you mentioned, worked in the concentration camp. He did some investigation on Japanese who lived in the Philippines.
He was a military officer.
For the Philippines or for the Americans?
For the Philippines.
Uh-huh.
And I grew up in military camps. After he and my mom got married, he was integrated into the Philippine Constabulary. The paramilitary police.
Yes.
And the precursor of the Philippine National Police now.
Okay.
And we grew up in military camps. He retired in 1970. So that was a span of so many years.
So you mentioned you grew up in military camps, so meaning you grew up all over the Philippines.
All over the Philippines.
Yeah.
From Sulu to Lanao, to Cagayan de Oro, Bukidnon, Davao, Tacloban. My father was assigned in Tacloban. That's why I graduated in high school in Tacloban City, because he was assigned there. And then he retired. When he retired, he was in Zamboanga City, in Zamboanga as a provincial commander.
And growing up in military camps and with 9 siblings, how was it?
Oh, it was fun, and we were a noisy bunch. My grandmother, who who tended to us because she was always on call from my mom. Because whenever my father was sent on other assignments and she couldn't immediately, she would go with him. She would call on my grandmother, my maternal grandmother, to tend to us, to take care of us.
Yeah.
And my grandmother once commented, "I would rather take care of 100 head of cattle than take care of 10 children of Karing."
And 10 kids, how many boys? 7 boys?
7 boys, 3 girls.
My goodness. So it was really a rowdy bunch.
A rowdy bunch. Imagine. I was already in college when my mom gave birth to a girl.
All right.
And they were my classmates were ribbing me. Hey, Tulfo's Ramon Tulfo's mom just gave birth, and they were laughing at me. I was already at that time. I was already 19 years old.
How was it growing up with, or being the eldest brother of your other famous brothers, Erwin, Rafi, Ben? How was it being the eldest brother? Were you a disciplinarian as well?
I had to set an example for the others to follow. Had I taken another profession, my military officer, had I entered the Philippine Military Academy, where I failed, and had I become a military officer, all my brothers would have become military officers like me. And since I entered broadcasting or the media, they followed suit. Ben, Erwin, Rafi, yes. Even Joseph had plans of coming back to the Philippines to try his luck in broadcast or in other journalism mediums.
Usually, one of the kids become a military man as well. And in your family, I think it was just
my father's game plan. My father and my father and I had a game plan, and that was for him to retire when I entered the military from the PMA. Yes, that was our game plan. When he was on the way out, I would be coming in as a young officer. But that didn't happen, and he was very frustrated.
So you failed inside, or you failed the exam?
I failed the exams. I failed in the exams. I took the PMA, the entrance exams to the PMA, very tough because of the math subjects. I failed. I took it 3 times. I failed 3 times.
But there were other options also. I mean, it's not only PMA that you can get.
Yeah, I could have entered through the so-called back door, meaning ROTC and and other sources, other areas. But I didn't want it. I wanted to become a regular officer because I saw how reserve officers or the integrees were treated by non-PMAers.
All right.
My father was non-PMAer, and he said, if you would enter the military through other means, like the ROTC, forget it. Because I know how it is to be a non-PMAer. So you'd better be a PMAer to enter the military, service.
How did you end in broadcasting? What brought you to broadcasting? Who were your mentors in broadcasting? But before you answer that, we did a little research of the songs that you like to listen to, and we discovered that you like ABBA.
Oh yeah, my favorite. ABBA songs were popular in the 1980s, and that was when I was a police reporter. I was at the height of my career as a journalist.
You gave us 3 songs of ABBA. We're going to play this music first, the tune called Fernando, and after we play the song, I'm going to ask you why Fernando is one of your favorite songs of ABBA. Don't go away. We'll be right back with Mon Tulfo. There you go, the music of ABBA and Fernando. So, Sir Mon, why what makes Fernando one of your favorite tracks from the group ABBA?
The sound and the beat. The beat and like it's a the military beat. Remember, like it's like it's a
those drums,
drum
bugle,
drum and bugle, and it reminds me of the days when we lived in military camps.
We were talking off mic earlier while the music Fernando was playing, and then we were talking about the program, how the concept, the format is, and I told you that it's essentially the old Voice of America, BBC, or Philippine radio broadcasting type of interview format.
You know, I'm glad that you're reviving the old disc jockey type program when English was spoken. Now it's Tagalog. I was a disc jockey once, English disc jockey at DZPI, and I was after that I became a newscaster, English newscaster, DZHP, and one of my colleagues was Tina Monson.
Palma.
Yes. And Bong Lapira was my mentor, and in newscasting, Bong Lapira and Harry Gasser, the late Harry Gasser, and my mentor in disc jockeying was Art Galindez, who had a stroke.
I'm just amazed by how you speak Tagalog and how you speak English, and the intonation of your English, and the words that you choose are so much like the words of the Americans who spoke during those times in the late 60s and 70s. Was education during that time the biggest influence on how you?
Yes. Yes. Because at the time, in the 50s and 60s, the lingua franca in radio and television was English. English was spoken everywhere, in the airwaves, and in offices, and people our teachers were very good in English. When I studied at the Ateneo de Davao, we were our subject. One of our subjects was English speech, and the American Jesuits.
Yes.
The American Jesuits taught us the proper way of pronunciation.
The American way.
American way. Yes.
So it was just normal during those times that newscasters or radio disc jockeys in the 50s, 60s, and 70s
50s, 60s.
would have the accent that you have right now.
Yes. I pine for those days.
I know. I think the last one was Harry Gasser.
Oh my God, Harry Gasser was my idol, and of course Bong Lapira. They were tops. I would say, in my book, they were the best.
What made you join broadcasting, and who was the most influential person in broadcast?
I was a drifter. After I failed in the PMA in the PMA exams for the third time, I became a drifter. I came to Manila. I took up one course after another, one of which was nautical. I wanted to become a sailor, and just like that, I was a drunkard. I drunk.
And you were the son of a colonel.
Yeah, but then I lost interest in studies. So I just wanted my parents back home to know that I was studying, but in fact I was not. I was gallivanting. And well, lucky for me, I fell into good company. One of the drunkards that I was drinking with was Bobby Dolina. Bobby Dolina at that time was with the Philippine Broadcasting Service, and he said, "Mon, with your accent, you should be in radio," and that started it.
The accent and the voice.
Because of your accent and because of your voice.
During that time, you can't be a broadcaster if you didn't have a baritone voice. Unlike now, you can.
But then with he told me that that could be compensated. My non-baritone voice could be compensated by my diction.
So you're telling me that your voice right now was not the voice that you had before. You had a much mas manipis na voice. Kasi right now your voice is okay. I mean, it's for broadcasting.
Yeah, but then my voice was a little low, a little lower before. My voice was a little lower before.
Than now. So you're telling me that your voice is high pitched now compared to your voice before?
Yes, my voice is high pitched now compared to the
60s.
The 60s and 70s. I've had 2 operations in my throat, tonsillectomy.
That's right.
So when you have had operations in your throat, you become high pitched.
You started in 1969 up to 1972. You were with DZHP and DZPU and DZZR,
yes,
and then there was martial law happened.
Yes.
I would like to know how it was. What was the experience like entering broadcast pre-martial law era and then during the martial law years? But before we talk about that, let's play one more song. From
Please.
ABBA.
ABBA? Oh,
okay.
yeah.
ABBA.
I love that.
Dancing Queen. And then you tell us why. Dancing Queen is also one of your favorite tracks from ABBA. With Mon Tulfo, we'll be right back here on Podcast.ph. This is Martin's Mancave. Don't go away. Dancing Queen by ABBA. And this is one of your favorite tracks.
Yeah, ABBA songs were popular when I was at the height of my career in journalism. I was a police reporter. I was very popular, a police reporter. It was during
Metro
martial
Manila.
law.
Metro Manila.
I was working for the Bulletin, the #1 newspaper at the time, and because I was working for the #1 newspaper, then I was the #1 reporter in the police beat on account of my standing, the standing of my newspaper. So I dreamt big. I said someday I'll become much better known than I am now.
So during those times when you're the #1 reporter of the newspaper, it's like being the #1 reporter of television now.
I was not on television then.
But the paper during that time was really big, right?
Yes. But remember, this was under martial law, and news was repressed.
Yes.
There was suppression. There was suppression of information.
So now that we're talking about martial law, let's go back to our hanging question. You came in to broadcasting before martial law. You experienced martial law, and then you worked as a reporter during martial law. Meron bang nawala sa'yo? Meron ka bang pinagsisisihan during those times? Or was it the same?
You know, martial law made me. I even joke that when they ask, how was it during martial law? And my joke is that I'm a martial law baby because I progressed during martial law. That's because during those times there was suppression, and some reporters didn't follow the dictates of Malacanang to report the news as Malacanang, as the government wanted it. But I didn't. I was a police reporter. I reported crime the way I saw it, and I when I was given a column,
Yes.
I criticized, I flayed the government officials who were engaged in irregularities. I criticized the police officers, military officers who abused their power.
And you got away with it?
Yes.
Why?
And that's I don't know.
Was it because you're the son of Colonel Tulfo? or-
Probably because there was a meeting. I heard that there was a meeting among generals because they were already hurt by my writings. And what's this guy Tulfo? What's with him? How come we allow him to do that to us? And somebody said, he's the son of he's one of us because he's the son of a retired colonel. I said, Tulfo, yes, I recall it. Somebody said, yes, I recall that guy. The maverick.
Oh, your father was a maverick.
My father was a maverick. He disobeyed orders. So when it came to when he knew that the orders were illegal, like Tulfo, we want weekly, we want this from you. I said, no, I cannot do that. I cannot feed my family with the money that I steal.
But your father retired a general.
No, a colonel.
He retired a colonel.
Colonel.
And
So he was thrown from one assignment to another. He didn't stay long in his post. Every year he got transferred, and every year the family moved with him. We liked it. We like the new environment every year, but then my father didn't. He was also it was punishment for him. But he thrived on crisis after crisis.
And well, there's talk. I talked to your brother Erwin, and he tells us that you became the breadwinner of the family when your father retired.
Yes.
Until he passed away, and until the last sibling finished school.
That's a little inaccurate because when my father retired, he was taken in the anti-smuggling.
Oh.
But I helped my dad send some of my siblings to school. Erwin, and Ben, and Joseph. I sent three children, three of my siblings to school. But the others were supported by my parents.
And this is the reason why probably people think that you're the father of Erwin and Ben and some of your brothers.
Well, because of the age gap. I'm older than Erwin by 16 years. Older than Rafi by 14 years. But Ben by 8 years.
So after you sent your brothers to school and they left for the United States.
Yeah.
What was the reason behind them leaving for the United States when you were doing well here as a broadcaster? Your father was quite prominent during his time, and why did they leave the Philippines?
My father was already in retirement, and one of my brothers, Joseph, went to the U.S. After graduating from college, from the UST. From the University of Santo Tomas, and he had glowing words about the U.S. and I'm doing well here. And he was telling his brothers, and they envied him, so they followed him there
Stateside.
I said, "Oh my God, that's if Joseph is doing good there, then let's follow him." So first it was Bong. First it was Bong, and then Rafi, and then Ben, and then Idel came in. So there was a time when only the two of us, Wanda and I, were left behind. Were here, while the rest, the eight of them, were in the U.S.
What made the other brothers go back to join broadcasting?
It was Erwin who came in first, who came back, and he made good.
Okay,
and he said, "Hey, I'm doing well here." And said, "Oh, then we're going back there." To follow the leader. In fact, it was envy, not jealousy, envy, that drove them to envy for a brother's, one of their brothers' good fortune, that prompted them to go to the U.S. And try their luck there, and then envy that brought them back here. The other way, hey, I'm doing well here.
But you were during that time.
Ben was doing well in business. He was a businessman in the U.S. He had 2 stores in San Francisco. Rafi also had 2 stores in the U.S. Pizza parlors. Erwin just came out from the army. He fought in the first war, the Desert Storm, and then he came back here He came back here on vacation, and then said, "Oh, he tried. He applied at ABS-CBN and got accepted immediately." And
well, you during that time. I mean, this was the early '90s, and
I was in.
You were at the top of your game. I mean, you were in RPN 9, Action.
Yes,
Action 9.
I was with Action 9. I was with Veritas.
Marami kang pinapagalitan ng time na yun sa TV.
And well, of course, I was a columnist for.
And you knew the people who were running ABS, GMA, and the rest of the. In short, you were already known in the industry, so that would have helped your brothers join the media easily.
Erwin was able to enter ABS-CBN because of Dong Puno, upon the recommendation of Dong Puno, who was my co-host at Action 9 in Channel 9.
All right.
And then he was taken in by ABS-CBN, and when he was taken in, Erwin applied, and he took Erwin in. And then Rafi applied at Channel 7, the English TV station of Channel 7.
CityNet, I think, I believe.
And he was taken in also as an English newscaster. And then Ben came in, and that's it. Before I knew it, there were 4 of us in media.
All right. And was there any temptation for you to join the big networks? During that time, Channel 9 was still big, but it was going down. And there was GMA and there was Channel 2. Were you ever tempted, or are you just a maverick, like your father?
No. I regret not having grabbed the opportunity when I was offered a slot at TV Patrol. The late Angelo Castro approached me, and he said the network was offering me to become a sort of a commentator, news commentator for TV Patrol.
Wow!
And I turned it down because I was afraid that I'd be laughed at by people because of my Visayan accent. And I said, baka pagtawanan ako dahil Cebuano, Visayan accent, ang Tagalog ko, o kasabihin nila na Bisaya, pinagtatawanan ng Bisaya. I was mistaken. Kasi marami palang Bisaya sa Maynila, sa Metro Manila, and most of a lot of people in Luzon, or in Metro Manila especially, trace their roots to Mindanao and the Visayas.
Yeah,
and they would have appreciated a Visayan, a guy with a Visayan intonation. Nagkamali ako doon. Sabi ko, ayoko. Pagtatawanan ako. But then, tinanggap ko rin yung sa Veritas because precisely because somebody told me, yeah, you're just right, because most people in Metro Manila are Visayans or trace their roots to the Visayas in Mindanao.
Yeah, so
wala na. And then, well, of course, Dong Puno tried to take me in, but for one reason or the other, na lumamig na yung ABS-CBN sa akin.
During that time, I remember, I was still in high school, I think, and you were a hot shot. The Action 9, isumbong mo kay Tulfo, everybody, there was ABS, there was GMA, but people were watching Channel 9 because of you guys. You, Dong Puno, and I think Ray Langit at some point was with you.
Ray Langit.
Yeah, Ray Langit.
The three of us.
And then at some point also the three of you would argue against each other.
Yes.
And riot yung programa na yun eh.
That's right. It was a riot. But we were very popular.
Yeah.
And people hated me.
Yeah.
Pero silang galit na galit sila doon sa isang tao. Ako yun. Because I was the kontrabida. Kasi ako yung nagmumura. So, ako yung first news broadcaster na nagmumura on the air.
Yeah, that's right.
And gago, stupido. Which was a no-no, which was unthinkable at that time. So, ako yung unang-unang nagmumura. Tapos minsan, 4-letter words and sinasabi ko on the air. Galit na galit yung...
well, you can say it here. It's a podcast.
Putang ina ka. Chika hindot ka, di ba? And sabi nila... And dito pa sa Veritas, which is a Catholic station. So, my God, what's that guy doing there? Nagmumura siya. Sa Catholic station yan.
Yeah.
Di ba? Pag galit na galit ako doon sa mga abusado, hindot ka. Putang ina ka. And people listen, iba ito. I didn't do that because I wanted to become popular. It's just me. Siguro, matagal ako sa police beat. I was in the police beat for a long time. I got the ways of the policemen.
I grew up in Mindanao too. And broadcasters in Mindanao do that. That's why they get killed. Ito siguro yung dahilan kung bakit ang mga Tulfo ganito, because they grew up in Mindanao. That's just my opinion.
Well, my father was from Rizal. My late father was from Rizal. But most of his life was most of the years that he was on Earth. He was in Mindanao. We're in Mindanao. We're spent in Mindanao. So he also he fought the lawless elements in Mindanao, and nakuha namin yung kanyang carriage, carriage under fire.
Moving from one place to the other, from
especially in Sulu, when at that time wala pang MNLF, 1950s. I was 5-6 years old. Sinasala ko yung kampo namin. The camp would where my father where we stayed would be attacked, and then they repulsed attacks, and then afterwards, after a few days, dala-dala na yung mga patay na sumalakay sa kampo, pinugutan nila ng ulo, and nakita ko yun.
Nakita mo yun?
Yeah, impression yun.
My goodness.
So ganito pala ang kwan. So pag yung lalabang kapag ginawa mo ito, you get punished. And yung punishment na yun, pag salakay ng kampo, pag balik nila, pagdala nila they would bring in the people that they killed. The outlaws ang tawag po nung araw, hindi rebelde. The outlaws that they killed, beheaded na. Laki-laki na, displayed na sa kampo.
So you lived in that environment?
In that environment, yes.
Your other brothers, also witnessed that o hindi na?
Wala na.
Wala na.
Kuwan na sila. When they were growing up, sila Erwin, sila Rafi, retired na yung daddy ko. Nakita pa nila yung tail end, pero hindi yung kasagsagan ng bakbakan. Wala na sila.
Your father raised you up the military way.
Yes.
Ganon. So I would suppose that you also raise your other brothers and sisters the same way your father.
May pecking order dun sa amin. So the guy who's older can punish the younger one. The younger ones. Down the line, parang hapon, yung sa military, yung hanggang ang kawawa yung pinakabata si Erwin. Kasi siya hindi niya pwede magantihan yung maliit yung babae.
Who's your closest sibling?
I don't have any favorites. Lahat sila kasi para akong tatay. Parents, I considered myself like my father, so I didn't play any favorites.
Is it true?
Of course, my father was fond of Erwin, because they look alike. Yes, Erwin looks like my father.
How was it growing up? Na lahat kayo mga lalaki ba? You were all good looking. Mga artistahin, parang mga Padilla. Sabi nga nila, parang mga Padilla brothers to. How was it? A lot of girls, a lot of boys.
Ay, kasi my two sisters became flight stewardesses. And one even joined the Binibining Pilipinas in 1972.
During that time when being a flight stewardess was really the in thing,
beauty,
very fashionable.
Beauty, yes.
Ang laki pa ng sweldo ng mga time na yun. Okay,
yes, that's it.
So, paano pag may dumadalo sa bahay niyo?
Wala. Meron silang yung mga nanliligaw. Nakakuan siya, they had to pass through Felix.
Okay.
Teka, sabi niya, anong mo dito? Anong si Wanda? Teka, meron kang kotse, di ba? Iwan mo muna sa akin yung susi.
Felix is the one who just passed on.
Yeah. It's pangalawa.
If I'm not mistaken, was it Felix or is it Joseph who's the pinakagwapo sa lahat?
Pinakagwapo si Joseph.
Si Joseph.
Mas may gwapo pa kay Rafi. Sabi nila mas gwapo raw si Rafi kay Erwin. Si Erwin lang kasi macho. Si Rafi is a little on the plump side, diba? Pero a lot of people when they were growing up, I saw them grow up. Mas gwapo mas gwapo si Rafi kay Erwin. But the handsomest of the boys is Joseph.
I'd agree. I saw the photo in your mom's place.
Yeah.
Mukhang Hollywood actor.
Ang tawag sa kanya El Mestizo.
El Mestizo.
Mestizo.
So what made him decide not to come home and try broadcasting?
Well, it's even better. It's better at in English. Maganda, baritone yung voice niya. Mas kuwan siya ng misis niya .
Takot. Hawak sa leg.
Hawak sa leg. Si Delia, I mean, he's happily married. I think, aside from Bong, Joseph is another of my sibling who's happily married.
And how was it just being... well, let me restate the question. Pag sinabi Mon Tulfo kasi, naisip mo Mon Tulfo. Even if your other brothers are successful now, si Rafi, Ben, and Erwin, they're quite popular. But in Metro, I don't want to pull your leg. I'm not pulling your leg. But when you say Tulfo, they still refer to Mon Tulfo.
Depends on the age. Yung mga matatanda,
would
say
ba?
Ramon yan. Pero yung mga bata, karamihan si Erwin or Rafi.
No, actually, nag-focus group study kami recently.
Oh, yeah?
This is like a Nielsen. ikaw pa rin, pangalan mo pa rin ang lumalabas. Mon pa rin. Although it's a Tulfo brand.
That's very flattering. But I thought that basta matatanda, yung sa akin. Pero pag yung mga bata na, yung kaya Masa, si Rafi. Si Masa, Rafi. Si Masa, it's Erwin. Si Ben, yung mga, well, middle class siguro. Parang, I would say, the most popular among us is Rafi. Second would be Erwin. Third, si Ben. Pero ako yung, I'm recognized as the eldest. The eldest, yeah.
Well, the trailblazer.
Ako the trailblazer. Although my joke is that I'm the youngest. Any
plans for politics for you or for your other siblings? I mean, do you talk about this in your roundtable discussion? I'm sure this comes up.
There was there's a supposed survey placing the Tulfo number 3 or 4, and I asked Rafi and Erwin and Ben. Sabi nila ayaw namin, but Ben mukhang may inclination, pero he's just keeping it. I don't know. I think he's keeping it to his breast, to his chest. Pero I don't know. But would be more successful. Would be more successful in media than anywhere else.
Hindi ka ba ng...
Iba-iba. Tingnan mo. Ang exceptional lang siguro na broadcaster na the former broadcaster who's doing well is Lauren Legarda. Pero yung iba, wala, tingin ko, wala eh. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Nolly. But yung talagang si Nolly, magaling. And si Orly Mercado.
Orly.
Aside from that, wala na akong makita. Yung iba, naging flop sila. I mean, talagang bumalik sila sa broadcast, and they're doing well. They're doing well in broadcast. Si Ted Filon was not very successful in politics. And pagbalik niya sa broadcast, he became even more successful. Ganon din si Nolly. They were not so successful in politics. Ang naging successful lang talaga si Nolly, si Orly Mercado, and Lauren Legarda.
Who would you thank if you were to thank anyone for your broadcast career right now?
First, I would thank Bobby Dulina and Art Galindez. Art Galindez took me in at DCPI. Bobby Dulina convinced me to join radio. They are the two most important people in my life, as far as entering a broadcast is concerned.
And they're still around, these guys?
I think Bobby Dulina passed away several years ago. And Art Galindez had a stroke and is very quiet. He's become reclusive. Let's put it that way.
Let's talk about legacies. What is the one big legacy that you would like to leave in broadcast or in journalism?
My brand of journalism is fighting for championing the oppressed. That's why I have my program Sibling Mon Tulfo. I'd like to leave a legacy of a journalist who fights for the oppressed.
Who would you leave this Isumbong Mo Kay Tulfo brand among your brothers? Who would you leave this brand?
All of them. The three of them are. have proven have copied my my style and even my mindset in helping others. I would like I would love my son Patrick, who's also in radio, to follow in my footsteps.
He's on radio now?
Yes, he was with DZRJ. I think he's with DZME now.
Wow.
I have
this
another
jockey?
son, Bon, but he's not in radio. He's a pilot. He's a helicopter pilot. I would love to see him follow in my footsteps.
Meron na bang inclination from or signs from both of your sons saying, Dad, parang gusto ko to ah?
Mukhang si Bon ayaw niya, gusto niya business eh. He just wants to remain in business. He's successful in business. Si Patrick is trying to follow in my footsteps.
Principles. Let's talk about your principles in life. If there are one or two principles that you'd like to share to us.
Courage to stand up to what is right. I got into trouble because I stood up on the principle. I was a very good friend of Mike Arroyo, the former First Gentleman Mike Arroyo, and I exposed the shenanigans of his girlfriend, and that got me into trouble with him.
Vikito, yeah. Are you okay now with Mike? You and Mike, are you okay?
I have forgiven him. I don't know. As far as I'm concerned, I have forgiven and forgotten. I have forgiven him and forgotten what he's done to me. Grabe yung ginawa sa akin eh.
Well,
but
all of you, most of you almost lost your jobs.
I lost my my job. My jobs on at Channel 9, RPN 9, and I had to leave DWIZ for a while.
For pressure, because of pressure.
Because of pressure exerted by Mike Arroyo on the owner, Ambassador Cabangon Chua, Tony Cabangon Chua. But I'm back now with DWIZ with a vengeance.
So for forgiveness is a virtue, is a value
yes,
that you
forgiveness. You know, if you forgive, it's good for yourself. It's not good for the guy who hurt you. If you forgive, it's not only you're not only playing saint, but you're also saving yourself from illness, future illness. Because if you carry hatred in your heart, you're bound to get sick.
What are your thoughts on religion?
Religion? Oh, I'm not religious. In fact, I don't have any religion. I'm not an atheist. I'm spiritual. I found God outside religion. I think religion is people who are religious follow dogma. I'm spiritual. I follow my conscience. And I've found God. I've discovered a very forgiving, a non-judgmental God through spirituality. So I veer more on Buddhism rather than on Catholicism, on Christianity.
You don't talk to your mom about this?
No, my mom is very religious. So she's
Catholic.
She's a devout Catholic.
Love. Thoughts on love.
Love depends. I love my children. I love all the women that who have come into my life, and you know.
You still love them?
But love for your children, love for your parents is permanent. But love for your women, they come and go. I mean, it comes and goes.
Really?
It comes and goes. Yes. I've had so many affairs.
Should I take your word for that?
Yeah, and that's why I have several children. I have a couple of children, but love for parents, for my children,
Brothers,
it's permanent.
siblings?
My brothers, yes, from my brothers, it's
Oh,
permanent.
speaking of brothers, Ben Tulfo, there's this talk that si Ben daw ang pinakasuwail sa lahat ng mga kapatid ng mga Tulfo, hindi raw sumusunod sa'yo. Clarify this.
Ben is a middle child, so he has his own mind, and just like my dad, who was maverick. Dad is Ben is trying to follow in the footsteps of my dad, who was a maverick. Ben is a maverick.
You love Ben.
I love Ben, and in fact, well, we don't see eye to eye on some issues, but I love Ben like I love Rafi and Erwin and the rest of the caboodle.
Like you'd give your life for a brother or
Yes,
sister.
yes. I love my brothers, and I appreciate the fact that when I got into trouble, they all of them stood up for me.
You almost
They
died
got
there.
into trouble. Remember?
You almost died there. I
Yeah.
mean, you were almost ambushed, if I'm not mistaken. Was it in Parañaque, the incident there?
No. Oh yeah, that was when I got into a brush with the cops. Erwin came, and Rafi almost did, but it was too late. I got released. But I'm referring to the airport incident.
Oh yes.
And they got into trouble on account of me because they went on the air and poured venom on Raymart and Claudine Barreto. Remember?
Yes.
Raymart Santiago and Claudine Barreto.
You've forgiven them, Raymart and
Oh,
Claudine?
yes, of course. I have. But I would appreciate it if they would come to me and say, "We're sorry, we did that to you." I would appreciate it more. But I've forgiven them. But I would be a hypocrite if I told you that I didn't plan something. I didn't
Nasty.
make nasty on them.
I have a lot of questions. Okay, let's go to the lighter side before we play the music and say bye to everyone. Slum book questions. Favorite color?
Red and blue.
Favorite book?
Oh, favorite. I used to my books. These books on self-help, The Secret,
Yes.
Law of Attraction. Those are my favorite books.
Law of Attraction. Huh?
And my favorite books were those of about how to survive in the streets.
Favorite movie?
Oh, my favorite movie, it's a war movie. The Longest Day.
Longest Day.
Longest Day.
What about The Longest Day? Do you like?
It's a war movie. I was in high school when that was shown, and I said I want to be like them. I said to myself, but I never did.
Have you found the love of your life?
Depends. It depends on what era.
Iba yung 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000.
I told you I've been in love with many women.
Okay. Lastly, before we play your music and before we say goodbye and play your music, how do you see journalism in this country? How do you see it in 5 or 10 years? Or how do you want to see it?
10, 15, 20 years from now, newspaper, radio, and television will become antiquated. The way to go now is internet. I foresee that people, most Filipinos will have access to internet, and because of that, the poor will be more educated, and we'll have good leaders. But we have the poor, the masses vote into office. People because officials on account of popularity, and by 20 years from now, this country will be progressive, and with progress comes education. So more people will be educated, will become educated. So the masses will no longer elect officials who are corrupt.
So based from what you're saying, so we will have to go through another 3 more presidents before we get to that ideal.
I told you it's 20 years.
20 years,
so
yeah.
666, it's 18.
18. So couples. Kapos pa. Thank you so much, sir.
Thanks, Martin.
Thank you for allowing us
pleasure.
to document some parts of your life, and hopefully, if you weren't able to mention some other chapters, and we can do this again.
I'd love to, but we've covered almost everything.
Almost everything. So right now, why Mamma Mia? What's it with Mamma Mia?
All the songs of ABBA I like. I love all the songs of ABBA. I told you this was the time when ABBA came was popular when I was on my way up, or I wasn't on the way up.
You were starting. You were starting, yeah.
No, I was a police reporter, and I had a very good future.
Girls were left and right. I'm assuming. I mean, you were number 1 police reporter, Manila Bulletin, in Manila.
Yes, and I was at the time I was at the peak of my good looks. In 1980s, I was in my 30s, and they say that a man looks his best when he's in his 30s.
Well, I'm already in my 40s, so I guess I've already passed that stage.
You're good looking, but you must have been much better looking when you were in your 30s. I was. My God, when I looked at a woman, and then I would connect immediatly.
Just one
and then
wink of an eye. That's it.
Wow, that was I long for those days.
Thank you so much, Sir Mon Tulfo Jr. On Podcast.ph. Mamma Mia, ABBA. Thank you so much, sir. We'll talk to you next time again.
Yeah, sure.
This Podcast.ph presentation is supported by Martin Andanar's Homecast Studio and Audio.ph.
Mon began his career as a newscaster from 1969 to 1972. He worked in DZHP and DZPU in Manila and DZZR in Legazpi City. Mon was also a news desk man and sub-editor for the Philippine News Agency in 1973 to 1975. He became a reporter for the Times Journal in 1975 and worked there until 1978. In 1978 to 1987, he worked for the Manila Daily Bulletin as a columnist and a police reporter. Mon launched Isumbong Mo Kay Tulfo at ZNN Radio Veritas in June 1991 and continued the program until March 1993. Isumbong Mo Kay Tulfo found its way back on broadcast again in July 1996 on RPN 9, and in September 2010 on Radio Inquirer. Isumbong Mo Kay Tulfo currently airs on DWIZ. Mon also produced Action 9 on RPN 9 from 1997 to 2006. He has been a columnist and continues to write for the Philippine Daily Inquirer since 1987. He has received numerous awards and recognitions. Ito mahaba ito, kaya pasensya na. I will just have to read this. Thomas Jefferson Fellow, 1-month study tour of the U.S. justice system in 1998. Best Investigative Reporting, 1984 by the Catholic Mass Media Award. Outstanding Professional in 1987 by Letran Alumni Association. He was also a nominee, wow, of the 1985 10 Outstanding Young Men, or TOYM. He received also Achievement Award in 1983 and 87 from the Makati Ayala Lions Club, and Award of Distinction in 1984 from the United Nations Walkers Club. Mon also received a Special Presidential Award for public service through responsible journalistic practice in 1984 by the Rotary Club of Makati. The nation's greatest achievers also in 1987 by the Unified Movement of the Filipino Correspondents.